When the Great Depression gripped America, there was no area hit any harder than the Tennessee Valley. The standard of living was even lower than the rest of the country. Depleted soil and lack of modernization meant poor crop yields and falling farm incomes. Infrastructure was virtually non-existent. That all began to change when on May 18, 1933, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt signed the Tennessee Valley Authority Act. The TVA began to transform an entire region. The sounds of construction soon replaced the sounds of despair. Farmers were taught new ways to improve their crops. Where necessary, the land was moved and shaped to make the precious resource of water work for the people, improving the habitat for fish, wildlife, and for recreation. A series of dams managed the water. A network of locks made the transport of goods possible. That's because the driving force behind the change was access to electricity, now being generated across the valley by the TVA-built power plants. And side by side with the TVA in their construction were the Union ironworkers. Ironworkers who, with equal parts skill, muscle, and pride in their work, erected the massive facilities that breathed life into an entire region. Over the generations, we're talking about thousands upon thousands of ironworkers. We're talking millions upon millions of man-hours. It's a partnership, it's a shared legacy, and it continues to be passed on to this day.
I guess the thing that I liked best was every day you went out, it was different. You know, it's hard work. I've heard them call each other overpaid labor, but it was a skill, and if you didn't know what you were doing, you wasn't going to last long.
Something the old man said once, that the best iron worker in the country, literally the best, the guy that can do it all better than anybody else, is useless if he's not at work. So we got to be here every day, on time, and give 100%.
I'm a third-generation union iron worker, and that might not mean a lot to some people, but it means a lot to me. Just the pride to do the job right the first time that was instilled to me by not only my dad, but the journeyman that I worked with when I was an apprentice. You do the job right the first time, you don't go back and do it again.
My father was an iron worker also, and to me, I was proud to see him come in every day. He is a hard-working individual, but I also got to see the buildings and the plants and the factories that he helped build. That made me want to become an iron worker.
And so the torch is passed. Every day, union iron workers walk through these gates and deliver unmatched professionalism and productivity for the TVA.
I do it all. I weld, I run a grinder, I rig, I work with the crane, set all kinds of iron, tie rebar, I do everything.
You ride around the cities and you say, hey, I had a part in that. I built that building, you know? That's something that I can't explain. It's a wonderful thing.
Welder, grinder, rigger, machine operator. You know, I love just being out on job sites.
Watch a building go up from the ground, from the foundation up into the sky, and top it off there. That's beautiful.
Ours is a skill set that combines the industry's best training curriculum alongside something that can't really be learned in a textbook. It's called taking pride in what you do, and understanding that the worker-employer relationship is indeed a two-way street. It's an awareness that has gone on for a very long time.
I've never had a business agent to tell me that he could keep me on a job. They told me that I'm going to get you the job, and it's up to you to keep it.
Make sure you're there and you bring in your A game. Because if you want to be a union iron worker, and I'm going to let you be called a union iron worker, as a journeyman iron worker myself, you better know what you're talking about. It's not just a job, it's a way of life.
The ironworkers and the TVA, shoulder to shoulder,